Okay, this is Kenneth 14621, and I just wanted to talk about a few things about the Cowboys and the NFL, I guess. But first, I want to talk about our wide receiver Michael Gallup. Okay, some folks are already anointing him as this breakout wide receiver, who's gonna do awesome. With me, he did fairly decent his first season, but you know, uh, the jury's still out. We'll have to see. You know, I mean, you can't just anoint guys just because they're a top draft pick or they did good in college. I mean, look what happened with Terrence Newman and Morris Claiborne. They didn't work out the way we thought they were going to work out. Uh, and I was listening to somebody on the internet, and it was some very well known announcer on a very well known sports network, and he was saying the Cowboys just need an elite passer to be considered an elite team. You don't think the Dallas Cowboys are an elite team yet? Let's go back a few years, 3 years. 13-3 with Dak Prescott. Next year, 9-7. Only because, so I'm not even going to talk about the Ezekiel Elliott was injured 6 games that year, but next year, which was last year, 10-6, and we booted Seattle out of the playoffs. The Seattle Seahawks, which is a tough team to do that to. We've had a hard time with them over the past couple years. So to me, Dallas is already an elite team. I mean, the only thing that could hurt us this year is if one of our linemen went down. If we have those 3 linemen and we've got Ezekiel Elliott healthy, even if Ezekiel Elliott wasn't healthy, not that we would do as good, but we would still be killing in the run game. But, I mean, as long as those guys stay healthy, who says you have to have some kind of, Joe Montana to be an elite team? I mean, not that, Dak Prescott isn't a great quarterback, but surely he doesn't put up the yards of a lot of quarterbacks, He's only had like 300 plus yard throwing games and all of his 48 games, but still, I mean, he gets the job done. And sometimes he plays good, elite, I mean, not as far as throwing the ball. He throws the ball pretty good sometimes, but when you add in his running and his toughness and his durability, it's not all about, we're not having to pay Dak Prescott a whole lot, and even if we do, we've still got these pieces in place, you know. I mean, the only time that we really had a hard time performing was when Ezekiel Elliott was suspended and wasn't playing. So no matter what we pay these guys, as long as we've got our offensive line and Ezekiel Elliott, we're gonna be an elite team. People just need to come to that realization. Whether they say Dak Prescott this or Dak Prescott ain't that, that's not what it's about. Dak Prescott is going to be healthy. And Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. He may not be super elite yet, which he may become this year, but he may not be super elite yet. But he's good enough with Ezekiel Elliott and our offensive line that we are going to be elite, and we're going to be a team to be reckoned with. And now on top of our offensive line and Ezekiel Elliott, we have Amari Cooper. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say one thing that could really hold us back is if Kellen Moore doesn't wind up being a very good offensive coordinator. But seeing as how if he does good enough, at least good enough as the last guy, we should be good. Which I didn't really dislike our last guy we had. What was it? Callahan, or I can't remember. I never even think about the guy. But so, and another thing, uh, I don't think, Romo was always a good quarterback, but Romo was always under pressure, man. I mean, everybody always got down on his back, and I think that's good for a quarterback. That's why I'm not coming on here saying, Dak Prescott, just don't worry. No worry. Spend extra times practicing plays after practice. Do every drill in practice to your fullest. You know what I'm saying? Study that playbook and know it inside out. It's good to have pressure on you. And I wish Dak Prescott would see this, because so when he gets pressure on him, he would realize that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It drives you to be your best. And that's like when people anoint you as the greatest, that's when you have your fall. Pride comes before the downfall. Players always underachieve after they get paid, when they don't have anything to prove. When they have something to prove, that's when they play their best. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to go out there like he's got something to prove. Instead of looking at all his good qualities and not even seeing his bad qualities, he needs to look at his bad qualities and focus on them and obsess about them so that he can play better. You know what I'm saying? Players usually play better in a contract year when they have something to prove, That's why a lot of players, you don't see them shattering records. They'll break it, but only by a little bit, because once you know you broke the record or you're great, you don't have anything else to strive for. You don't have anything else to prove. When you start thinking you're the greatest, that's when you start messing up, But so anyways, though, and I just want to talk about a few teams around the league. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs could be good. I mean, they're going to be good regular season, I think, but we'll see in the playoffs, because they do have the Patriots to contend with. And the Eagles, we'll have to see. Everybody says they're so great. I just don't see them being as great as people say. Especially since Carson Wentz has missed so much time, he's going to be rusty. Now, they do have a good team outside of that, but let's not just act like when they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles that they just had this super great team and that Nick Foles wasn't even doing very good. Nick Foles was going out there and killing it, son. I mean, he was killing it. And people think if Carson Wentz doesn't do that good, that the Eagles will still be really good. Well, they haven't proven that, because if it wasn't for Nick Foles going out there and killing it, I don't think they would have won that Super Bowl. See what I'm saying? Carson Wentz has to kill it for the Eagles to be good. I mean, to be as good as people are saying. They could be good, but to be as good as people are saying, Carson Wentz has to go out there and play great and do really good. So, but if that happens, I say, yeah, they're a really great team. But we'll have to see. So, anyways, though, I don't know. It's really too early for me to start talking about which teams are going to be good. I've heard the Vikings might be pretty good. And actually, in my previous video, I have the Cowboys losing to the Vikings when they play them. But I might be wrong, because there's so many injuries in football, you just never know. But I was going to make this a short video, but you start talking about football and, it runs long. But I definitely will have reaction videos during the season, especially on big games. And anyway, so that's my little rundown. I'm not going to do any Super Bowl picks yet, but there we go, So there's my little rundown. So there we go. Thank you very much. Bye.